All right, making this video, just a thought that I had, and well, actually a series of thoughts that I had throughout the past, just like recently, past 24 hours, kind of like week, and it's basically all these ideas from like, training your mind to literally think about upsides, to training the mind to thinking about optimism, but not in that woo woo fucking airy fairy type of shit. I'm talking about practical optimism where it matters, like in the trenches. I'd say like in the trenches, all right, within the pain situations. So to give you some context, right now I have around, let's calculate that. In terms of money that I have right now, I paid rent, and then so I have around $31 to my name right now in terms of money that I can use. Okay, $31. Okay, that's including my business bank account and my personal bank account and cash that I have in cash. No savings, none whatsoever. And I'm busy this weekend. I'm just busy dialing up my offers for my business, and I've been spending the week kind of like just focusing on the tools and the messaging. Well, not really messaging, like market research, designing my offer, because I currently do advertising as my business because I work for myself as of February, right? As of the latter part of February. But what I'm getting to is that, like, even feeling sick this week, I had some flu, and then I started training, and then it kind of like reversed my healing again, and I had to stop training. But the training kind of helps with like mental, dealing with fucking like mental stability. And then the day before yesterday, I was like, I went to bed at like 5 a.m. in the morning because I was just up busy doom scrolling, just watching a whole bunch. I was doing some work, and then I was like, oh, let's just keep staying up. And then when I fucked up my sleep, when I woke up, it was like hard to do work. I was still feeling sick. And then, but what I'm getting to is that all these ideas, if you're into personal development, you've probably seen them. Like, think positive, think about the upsides, optimism, believe in yourself, all that shit. But what I've been training myself to do is actually like consciously put these thoughts in my mind, not when it's just feeling. Do you know when you're feeling all airy, like more optimistic, you have a positive mood and shit like that? It's easier to think that when you're in a positive mood, but it's more difficult when you don't feel like doing the actions, you don't feel like being positive, you're feeling all the doubts. Well, I'm feeling all these doubts, anxieties, worries. So even yesterday, like even last night, for example, I've been posting 3 times a day for a certain like marketing business page that I have on my socials. I've been doing 3 videos a day for 14 days since the 10th of April. But last night I did not feel like doing that shit. I was tired, I was feeling anxious, doubt, anxieties. But I was like, dude. And then I had to think and remember, what do I understand about how the world works? How does my biology work? How does the human mind work? And when you're in a negative state, according to science, your brain, what state specific memory bias, so your brain starts remembering things that are congruent, that resonate with that kind of state, right? So I had to think logically, okay, cool, I'm in this negative emotional state, I'm feeling doubts, anxieties, I feel like I'm not going to be winning in business. Fuck, how am I going to pay rent for the following month? Like, what about these expenses, etc., etc., etc. And I have this consistency of posting 3 videos a day there, and I had to remind myself that physically it's not that difficult. And I had to be like, okay, cool, I need some ideas for the videos. So I applied my principles of what I understand about my current understanding about human nature and behavior and biology. And I'm like, okay, first thing, I have to kind of disrupt my physiology, because it's also going to contribute to that mental state and the emotions. So I kind of like literally move my body around, like just literally doing some dynamic stretching, and just to kind of like disrupt that kind of feeling, the physiological feeling, not the emotional feeling, because I'm focusing on the physiological because it's connected to the emotional and the thinking, right? So I'm like, okay, cool, let me just kind of disrupt this. Let me get some fresh air. Let me go outside, get some fresh air. And let me stop watching whatever podcasts that I'm watching, because that's also like an escape. And when you're in that rut, you want to escape, get that dopamine. So I'm like, cool, let's cut that momentum, pause the podcast, close the tabs, get my body loose. And then I had to remind myself, okay, cool, I've done this before. The ideas don't have to be complicated. Let's just keep the momentum. And I had to remind myself, like, dude, tomorrow I'm not going to remember what it felt like, but I will remember, like, fuck, you just kind of broke the streak, right? So that's what I did. But what I'm getting to over here is that even when I was in bed last night, when I'm sleeping, I had to fucking consciously, because, it's like there's insomnia, kind of like struggle with insomnia. So I'm like, dude, as much as you want to go fucking keep watching more podcasts or watch more YouTube videos about shit, I'm like, know what? Let's just go to bed. That's going to be the best thing I can do for myself, sleep earlier. And yes, I'm still a little sick, so I can't really be training as much, otherwise I'm going to fuck up the progress and healing, right? So, so in my mind, yeah, even there in bed, I had to think about which beliefs I'm trying to install in my reality and my default way of being. And I had to consciously process, like, oh no, today wasn't a fucking waste. I did this thing that was positive. I did this thing that was moving me forward. And like, I had this positive conversation with someone. I helped my brother with this, and he won like this. So basically, my little brother, I just kind of helped him like an apprenticeship. So I told him, hey, do X, Y, and Z, do the actions and come back to me with feedback instead of me getting the fish for him. I told him how to fish, basically. But yeah, he reported with some positive progress. But I had to remember that, oh no, when you're in a negative state, also remembering like concepts about cognitive biases, or like, okay, cool, you're in a negative state, you're biased towards remembering how you think you're going to be failing and fucking out in life. So I had to remind myself that, no, dude, what were the wins? You got out of the fucking bed today, you did some actual work, you followed up with some other type of work, you checked your client accounts, you actually did fucking do not just one, but two, but three videos. And not just about posting the videos, it's about sitting there, ideation, shooting the video, editing the video, reshooting the video after fucking up a couple times, persisting. Video number one, write a little bit of a copy, the hashtags, post on one platform, post on another platform. So those little incremental wins I had to process, like, no, dude, we fucking won, right? So yeah, I mean, like, I've read personal development books, psychology, business books, etc., philosophy, but internalizing these type of ideas has been a challenge. Of course, it's been happening for people in millennia, right? But one of the things I'm currently changing about my default understanding or processing of the natural world, my experience of the natural world, is that I have to train myself to think those thoughts even when it's inconvenient, and try to do the actions when it's inconvenient, so that it's not something that's happening in the fair weather when it's it's all fucking peaches and sunshine, right? So I had to be like, oh, I'm feeling these doubts and anxieties. I have to pay rent, and I'm trying to get this other money to come in, but there's some challenges over there, and I'm feeling these doubts and anxieties. And on the other hand, I want to do more cold outreach, but I know I need to dial in my offer, and my impulses tell me, like, do more cold outreach now, but also I don't have the ideal clients prospects that I've been getting in my process. So I'm like, okay, what are the fundamentals? What are people who are winning what are the people that I have way more experience than me and more success than me in the field that I want? What do they say? What are the fundamentals? Cool, my emotions tell me to go in one direction, but let's trust the idea that these people want for a fucking reason. So follow what they fucking follow the principles of what they say, right? And what I'm talking about there is like people who succeeded in business, even though it's outside of my reality to have that level of success, and I'm highly biased towards skepticism and doubt. I have to be like, okay, I know I feel the doubt, I feel the anxieties, but just trying to believe in cause and effect rather than your emotions. Okay, in terms of statistics, if you show your offer to enough people, out of the millions, there's 400 million businesses, 40 million or 400 million businesses on the planet, you're bound to find some that are going to be you're going to be closing, right? So it's kind of like zooming out a little bit and also it's like what I'm training myself to do is to use all these principles in real time when I need them, and kind of imagine, let's say I had no phone access, no laptop, it's just you, right? Which tools could I use? Philosophy, psychology, physiology, physics, fucking statistics, all my understanding about how the reality works. How could I be resourceful enough in the moment to moment basis to apply those ideas to move me forward? So, for example, in the past 24 hours, it's like, okay, cool. Thinking out like, okay, cool. Objectively, physics still remains regardless of my emotions, and I can still move my physical body through physics to get the end outcome of posting those videos. So that's what concept that I applied. Okay, force equals, I mean, like the law of inertia. Okay, cool. Everything stays in motion or state of rest, unless acted upon by a net force. So I could be like, let's move. Okay, cool. Also the idea of like momentum in terms of physics, and also like even for being in a state of rest, like, okay, I'm in that momentum, busy watching podcasts, trying to escape, or I'm like, oh, I'm healing, or I'm just like feeling sick. Oh, let me just watch these podcasts, procrastinating on posting those videos, creating those videos, and posting those videos, and then it's like, cool, the law of momentum. All right, cool. I mean, to get moving, there's a certain action threshold that's needed, right? And then you get over that, and then it gets easier and easier because there's already a kind of motion, so you don't need the same action threshold to keep to move it forward. And even thinking about metaphors, like the idea of like a breakthrough velocity of a rocket, it's like, it's gonna exerting all that force, but once it hits a certain level, it's like boom, it doesn't need as much force to keep going, right? Another idea I kind of think about is like, okay, thinking about the action is kind of like a snowball down a hill. So instead of perceiving it as like I'm trying to push myself uphill, it's like, no, dude, I just have to push the snowball over the hill, and then it's like I just have to just tap it forward, and it's going to kind of like move forward. So these little metaphors, these analogies, these kind of like perceptions, trying to use them in real time instead of being like, yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm getting to. So yeah, even today. So last night when I'm in bed, I'm literally thinking about the wins that I had. It was fucking difficult. I had to just think about the wins that I had, what I look forward to, the upsides of my life. It's like, dude, my fucking limbs work, all right, my legs work. I learned new things that week. I learned some mishaps and many on the technical stuff and the tools that I've used in my advertising, my business. It's like, oh cool, I learned this. Okay, my understanding of the world has expanded even by a little bit. It's like, no, dude, you're not the same person that you grew up, that woke up the day before or that morning. So all these little incremental things, dude, is like, yeah. So even today, I was like thinking, like, dude, what other tools could I use so that if I feel do you know when you fall off path, now you fucking it's either going to doom scroll or maybe watching porn or some bullshit. But like in my case, it was more doom scrolling, like watching a bunch of YouTube videos or podcasts about. They're not like bullshit, but it's kind of like it's not the main thing that's going to be helping me right now. Like if I'm watching a podcast about fucking UFOs and aliens, it's like it's interesting, but it's not going to be helping me with my goal right now. It's still an escape. If I'm watching podcasts, I'm not watching like MMA podcasts. It's interesting. It could be useful, but it's like relative to my main goal, unless it's literal time for downtime. Like, hey, let me take a break, get a little bit of entertainment for like maybe 30 minutes or an hour, and then get back to the path. But this is kind of like impulsively, kind of like escaping. Like, oh no, you're procrastinating from the things that you're meant to be doing. In my case, so to kind of like train myself to get back. So of course, meditation helps get that. The reason why I'm incentivized to do meditation is because it helps get that real-time awareness of like, no, dude, you like instead of sobering up when you're down there, it's like whoa. Okay, so instead of being like, fucking a week and a half of fucking out, could rather be a day of fucking out, and then you get back on path. So that's why, yeah, dude, like the meditation part is useful. And yeah, this is an interesting ramble because I want to kind of document this so that in the future I remember, like, dude, you were eating shit, bro. But we went through it, and now we're at another level. And of course, yeah, because my goal, like financial freedom, is like, of course, that's what I'm in business for, financial freedom. But different levels of financial freedom. So there's a certain level I want to hit, and to kind of get out of that scarcity thinking, and then hit another level where, yeah, get out of like fucking the survival mode type of shit. And it's challenging because I'm working for myself, so I'm like, fuck, dude, let me invest in this, but oh, wait, how could I do this? But shit, I need to pay, like, make sure my rent's covered. Of course, food is covered. So I want to kind of like focus on the fundamentals of my business, so that I know that if I'm doing lots of outreach, showing people, hey, this is what I can do for you, statistically speaking, I'm going to close enough so that I don't have to fucking worry about that type of shit. And then also I can be focusing on more things like adding even more and more value to my clients, and exploring other life areas like traveling, you know, writing, creation, like art, like fucking videos, maybe like music, different creative outlets. But the foundation is having a consistency in the things that will keep the fucking car going. And the car going, I'm talking about, like, yeah, of course, money is important, but also the philosophy, like the concepts that I have in my mind, the operating systems that I have in my mind, like this thing of entertaining doubts, fears, anxieties. Even today, dude, like I was busy working on that, and I was feeling doubts and anxieties about, dude, is this really gonna work? And then I'm kind of like, okay, cool. I'm kind of consciously reframing it as like, cool, this makes my IQ, my world IQ even higher. Like, see, even that, I'm talking about like consciously reframing shit in the moment. So there, I'm consciously processing the ideas like, oh no, dude, you're feeling that anxiety, cool. Instead of like running away from it or trying to like distract it with all these thoughts, like, okay, I'm anxious. What am I anxious about? Oh, I'm doubting that I'll be able to close this kind of business. All these other big players, why would they choose me over them? It's like, no. Everyone lives in a subjective reality, and anything can be a pro or a con. So like, I can find all the fucking USPs that I have, and also dial up my offer so that they don't really compare myself to them. They could be like, no, I'm gonna choose this guy for these reasons, all right? Or I could also see it as like, okay, cool, I'm feeling doubts and anxieties. What am I doubting? Cool, let me use that as a, like, okay, what am I doubting specifically? Do I have any evidence to doubt this? I could also use it as a thing to lower my action threshold. All that skepticism, the bias towards skepticism and doubt, like, cool, I can recognize that, okay, I'm someone who like very skeptical and biased towards doubting. So instead of looking into the emotions and that, cool, I can rather like, cool, even if this business fucks out, let's get real world data so that my analytical brain is processing real data from reality instead of fucking assertions that came out of fucking nowhere. It can come from doubts, like random, like I don't even know where it comes from, dude. So it's like, rather generate real data. So I can use the doubt to be like, okay, cool, I'm experiencing doubt. And I can be like, okay, my brain needs more certainty. So yes, logically, there's more businesses out there. There's more businesses that need me than there are in supply of businesses that can help those businesses, right? So I'm like, yes, that's a logical way, but also make it tangible. I'm like, dude, fuck trying to imagine shit. Do the actions, generate data from the reality, and process that. And then now your brain can use all those analytical skills on real data instead of fucking imaginary fears and shit like that. So yeah, I know this is what, 18 minutes. It's pretty long. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. And I really want to kind of remember this over time, because, sure, dude, like, that insomnia, those doubts, bro, they keep you up at night. It's like, fuck, bro. And it's crazy because it's kind of like, yeah, there's a product, how do I put this? Like, there's like a fluctuation of like belief, doubt. So I want to make sure that when I'm even in doubt, when I'm in a low state, I still consciously flood my mind with the ideas that I want to make as normal in my life. Like, even when I took a walk out today, it's like, dude, I'm alive. Fuck yeah. You know, I have the freedom to walk around. I have my fitness. I have my health. I know I've got the flu, but I've got my health. And I'm like, dude, at least I've got something to look forward to. That's fucking cool. I'm doing something. I'm building up product, my services. I'm building up the technical side. I'm doing market research because I give a fuck about the clients that I'll be helping out. I'm doing something good. I'm increasing my skills on a daily basis. I have fucking access to books like these, you know. Like, yeah, I'm gonna make sure that I read notes, even if it's 10 minutes a day, because this is another piece of software that's gonna be helping me out. Like, Because yeah. And also the reason why I wanted to be training is because that's another one. Shout out David Goggins, where it kind of like trains your mind to feel the kind of like adversity, and then you can train, get more practice rounds dealing with those emotional, difficult emotions. Like you're busy running and you feel like walking, and the hill is steep. You feel like walking, you feel like maybe pausing. It's like, no, keep going. Now it's kind of like training the mind to get over that. That's why I was tempted to train again, and then that kind of reversed my healing. But yeah, this is just a video to my future self saying that, bro, if you're watching this in the future, you fucking did it. You're traveling the world. You're a multi motherfucking millionaire, and you earn yourself your fucking personal freedom. It doesn't feel real right now, but we're fucking doing this, man. We're fucking doing this.